Hey everybody, I'm Carrie.
I'm Maddie.
Welcome back to Book Club.
Hey
Hi everybody. Welcome back to Book Club. We're together and everything
Thank
is
God.
amazing. Thank God. We had an amazing little beach day yesterday. It was actually perfect.
And life is good.
Life is good when we're together. And I'm excited for today's episode. We spent a couple of times the past few days talking about this because
we're feeling very passionate.
We're feeling very passionate about it. So, just a little preface. If you couldn't tell by the title, this isn't as like fun hee hee ha ha, except we're always a little bit fun hee hee ha ha. But we will be talking about female versus male media, and overall we get heated about it. So, be prepared for that. Today we're talking about our top favorite book boyfriends, and they just also so happen to be a lot of the most popular ones that get shit on a lot
from series that get
shit on a lot, specifically by men. And we're going to talk about the double standards
of female fantasy versus
just male media in general,
as a whole, the entire thing.
So
all of it.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Starting with our book boyfriends, the favorite ones that we're going to be focusing on for now. And if y'all like this kind of episode, we'll do more because we have about 50 book boyfriends.
Yeah. And we did we did 3 different genres because we think,
we
wanted to.
Not really genres because YA is also fantasy.
Well, yeah, but YA is
its own
entirely different. Like, YA book boyfriends are very different from our second genre, which is adult fantasy or romantasy. And then our third genre is contemporary romance.
Like, the Twisted series. Something like that. Yeah. Not technically a dark romance, just regular modern day romance.
Yes.
So, those are the ones we're going to be talking about today. And obviously, our first number one book
Both
boyfriend
of ours is Kai Azar.
Kai Azar.
He's always going to be number one.
He's truly the blueprint.
He changed the game. Yeah, he changed the game. I think both of us agreed that we have a lot of favorite book boyfriends, but and these aren't our top 3 per se, but Kai is number 1.
Something about Kai, something about what Lauren Roberts put into that man
just hits different.
It just hits different, and he's truly the best book boyfriend, and you can't
argue with
me
the wall.
I'm wrong. You cannot tell me I'm wrong. If you haven't read Powerless, Reckless, and Fearless, Godspeed, and you need to.
Yeah. So Kai Azar is number 1,
and he's our young adult book boyfriend, because Powerless series is a YA series, so that means, as much as men can't comprehend it,
there is
no spice.
None. Not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit.
There's none. Nothing.
Nothing's happening in that. There is
a singular
banter. There's maybe some kissing.
Yeah.
And then there is
some innuendo.
A singular innuendo between 3 books and soon to be 2 novellas. One innuendo.
One. Uno.
Closed door. So
off page.
Closed door, off page. Next chapter.
Yeah.
So the next one is going to be
our
romantasy.
Carrie's.
Reese. The original Shadow Daddy in my eyes. And High Lord of the Night Court, and also from the ACOTAR series, which is one of the most shit on series on the internet by men.
Yeah.
Because, mind you, so many of them say, oh God, Sarah J. Maas is just a bad writer. What have you written?
Period.
What have they written? What were they writing at 16? Because I sure as hell know it was not Throne of Glass.
Yeah.
It was not an entire fantasy series about a corrupt kingdom and war and an evil king. Sounds similar.
Sounds very familiar.
Sounds very familiar. But Reese, okay, so it's adult fantasy. This is what most men refer to when they talk about like, oh, women's like, I don't even know if you can say porn. Can you say that?
You should be able to.
You should be able to with how much it's consumed.
Yeah, we really should be
But
able
it
to.
is compared to that the most. Maybe that's the one time I'll say it.
Yeah.
It's compared to that the most.
Adult content.
Male
adult content.
And they say that it's like, oh, it's just fairies. It's just like fairies fucking. Right. I'm also going to preface here. We're specifically talking about the men on the internet that cause issues with this shit and also don't read.
Yeah.
And they're definitely not, they refuse to sit down and read one of these books that they criticize so much. They criticize it so much because it's for women. But why are you so mad about it then?
Yeah.
If you really feel like it's not for you, why are you so mad about it?
Because they want everything to be about them.
Anyway, we love Reese, and there is spice in this because it's adult. However, and we'll get into this a little bit, as much as Reese is powerful High Lord of the Night Court, one of the most High Lords in the series, there is no violence. He's not violent to Feyre, who is the love interest, if you haven't read Act R. No violence there. Not with her. And then the third one, are we going to go with both from the Twisted series?
Well, I had a different one for fantasy.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
I had Azriel.
I can't wait for his book.
Yeah. But also for just like, because Azriel is not a main character yet, like he hasn't had his book, I think for the purpose of
this episode,
I'll go with Xaden.
Ah, amazing.
So that way we can talk about Fourth Wing.
Yes,
because Fourth Wing is another one that is
so hated. And it's
so
only going to be
on.
hated on more the more that it is developed into movies and media, which I'm very interested to see how they go about doing that. I think it's going to be amazing, though. Very excited.
Yeah. And then the third is our contemporary romance.
So just like modern day romance, not necessarily dark, because we can't really touch on that genre too much.
We haven't read a whole lot of we haven't really read any dark romances.
I've read one Mafia.
One. Yeah.
But like even then, I'm filming a little video on it, so it'll be talked about some in there, but it wasn't to the extent of what I think like something like Haunting Adeline might be.
We haven't read that. One day we will.
Yes,
and we might come back and if you guys like this episode and you want us to like do a whole ranking system.
Yes,
of
I want to do like
we really want to
like
do that.
a D rank through S rank of the book boyfriends, like a fun one where we like don't talk about men so much.
Yeah.
And we just get to rank our boyfriends.
Yeah.
Because I think that would be really fun.
I think it would be really fun. So if
we've
you guys want to
just
see
been
that,
feeling really passionate about this lately, and
so we have to talk about it. Yeah. But our third one we both did from the Twisted series by Anna Wong.
Mm-hmm. We both have different favorites from the Twisted series.
Yes.
It's a 4-book standalone series.
If you haven't watched
interconnected.
the episode on it, it's from like a little over a year ago.
Yeah.
Go watch it. It's pretty funny.
We talk about all 4 books in one episode. But do you want to talk about your favorite?
Is Reese Larson.
And I think for the sake of this episode, we'll focus on him the most too, because we have some references there too.
He is a Navy SEAL who is turned into a princess bodyguard.
Amazing.
And the princess is the love interest.
Obviously.
If you haven't read the book. But Reese is like the epitome of mucho macho, like manly man.
Yeah. My favorite from that series is Christian Harper in the 4th book.
Who is also pretty like...
Who's also very like mucho macho...
Like businessman.
Yeah. Like he's very Wolf of Wall Street coded. Yes. Billionaire dude. And that one gets probably like has like the most crazy shit happen in that book.
Yeah, I agree.
But those are our 3 book boyfriends we're going to talk about.
We're going to be using as references.
References. There's technically like 5, 6 of them.
Yeah.
Those are our 3 genres of book boyfriend that we're going to be talking about today. And I think the reason that we have been feeling so up in arms about this is, one, because obviously the state of the world right now, I don't love it. I don't love it, and I don't love the way that women are treated in the media in general.
Yeah.
But also, we always end up being depending on the week of our cycle, we're either talking about how much we are loving our book boyfriends
or how much we are
despising real life men.
Disgusted by them.
Disgusted. And Dylan is a little fake ass hoe, and he doesn't listen to book club all the time, but if he does, I'm not disgusted by my boyfriend.
Yeah, we're not talking about our men, because they're not
they respect women.
They're not insecure losers.
Yeah. And there's a lot of insecure losers out there, and if you're one of them, this is for you.
This is, period. This is not most book girls on the internet, especially like a lot of our mutuals. I
keep seeing TikToks of like comment sections of people being like referencing women who have boyfriends or husbands or whatever that actually in real life get upset by the term book boyfriend.
I saw a woman talking about that on TikTok, but that's crazy.
That's
like, let's
words
touch
on
grass.
paper. Words on paper, people.
Let's touch grass.
Fake.
But most of our, I feel like most of the book girls who have a boyfriend don't have an insecure loser boyfriend. And obviously we're not talking about those men. We're literally just talking about the men. Specifically, they love to be in the comment section.
Yeah, they love
on
to
burner
be in the
accounts.
comment section. Always, bro, always on a burner account. It's like they know they're being embarrassing on the internet.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. And they're doing it
if you weren't embarrassed, then maybe you wouldn't be doing this on a burner account.
Right. Honestly, if you're going to say something, say it with your fucking chest. It's honestly more embarrassing that you're saying it on user XYZ7879765. That's more embarrassing.
No, literally. Because there are plenty of people who would think it was very weird or cringe or whatever for me to be all over the internet on my knees for Kai Azar. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm posting this on my main account, on all my side accounts, on everything. Right. You're going to know because that's how I feel about it. And I'm going to say it with my chest.
Yeah, I don't think that personally, we're this, we both, if I feel a certain way about something, I'm saying it with my chest. I don't care if somebody else finds it embarrassing or cringe. I am cringe, but I am free.
I am cringe, but I'm free.
You know, men are so embarrassed by what they're saying, but they still want to say it. They don't shut the fuck up, but they're also going to do it in on a user 11 letters.
So right.
They're no, I have to say this, but I don't
can't know who I am.
You can't see my face.
And this is a really
Show your face, Uggo.
Show your face.
I just know you have a neck beard and you drink 20 beers in your mom's basement and you're involuntarily celibate. That's them.
Yeah.
That's them.
God forbid they have to take a little blue pill.
Oh. No, literally.
For the girlfriend they don't have.
For the girl. No, it's always the men who don't have girlfriends. It's always the men who don't have
male loneliness epidemic.
It's the male consequence epidemic.
There are men who truly believe that book boyfriends are the reason that they are a part of the loneliness epidemic.
Right.
Words on page are the reason that you can't talk to women.
You can't compete with words that were strung together by another woman. Your biggest op is a man who is fake, who was also written by a woman. That's your biggest competition. That's embarrassing.
That's embarrassing. You should look inward for that. And I think that is a really good leeway to talking about the type of media that men consume and how they can go about saying whatever they want with no consequence, with no repercussions, with no one calling them out or potentially raising the standard bar. Because I think one of the biggest things, and I think a lot of women on Book Talk can agree with this and would agree with it, that especially if you had at one point you felt a little insecure about talking about anything sexual or didn't feel comfortable in your sexuality or just as a woman, and then you started reading fantasy books and romance books that women have been reading for years and years and decades and
millennia.
Decades. This is not new. It's just being more openly talked about.
Yeah.
That like reading these books have made a lot of women feel
empowered,
confident, and also looking at other male main characters in these books that we're reading that are not like the most fantasy thing is like, oh, like, okay, an Akatar, they might have wings.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, they're just men in a position of power. They're successful. They're strong. They are dangerous, which is realistic to men, but they choose to not be with the women that they're with.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, these are fantasy books. As much as men don't want to admit it, they are high fantasy books. There's wars. There's battles. There's
politics.
There's politics. There's villains. There's, like, real stuff going on. And they have to, like, obviously fight those things and go against those things. And they're not doing that to their wives, girlfriends, high ladies, X, Y, and Z, the female main characters. Not treating them that way. It's not rooted in violence in any way. I personally have never read a book where a female main character was in specifically an intimate situation with a male main character and felt fear.
Yeah.
Like true fear or uncertainty on if they wanted to be there.
Right. It's always very, and we were talking about this, how oftentimes in these books, the very few sexual chapters that we get, because let's be honest, it is not a majority of the book common misconception.
Ever.
It's what, a 600-page book, and you maybe get 20 pages of actual, like, full-page spice.
And of course, you can always find the exceptions to that.
Right.
But we're talking about, like, the main things, like the men that are upset about stuff like this, and the people, and there's women too that get upset about it too, that think that reading books like this is like
bad,
evil or something,
right?
And that women can't enjoy anything. That it's like there is always going to be the exception, but you're not even getting to that point before there's criticism,
right? Like the most commonly discussed books when it comes to like men ridiculing these books, the most common ones are A Court of Thorns and Roses and Fourth Wing.
Yeah.
Those are very, very common to be absolutely just shat on. And these books are not predominantly filled with spice. Like we read Pucking Around a few months ago. That was like, it was
crazy.
Very spicy. But even that, like I would
it
say
wasn't violent though.
Right. There still wasn't any violence.
No violence.
There was no violence. It was always very enthusiastic and consensual.
Yes. 100% of the time. There is
100%
enthusiastic consent. And mind you, we have seen some people claim that like Haunting Adeline is maybe not that way. We can't really speak on that one because we haven't read it.
But we're not going to speak on it. And
we haven't read it.
We haven't read it.
But from the ones we have read and the ones that are shit on, enthusiastic consent
100% of the time,
safe. And it's like is so villainized, but like especially in things like Akatar, where it's like, oh, it's just like, I don't know, something to like get women off, and it's like that. God forbid there be emotional intelligence,
and like the just the entire thought process around, oh, that's what you like, that you're getting off to that. No.
You like that? You like that?
You fucking like that?
Wait, God. Oh my God.
No, that's not, like, nobody's reading the, like, there was a guy who made a TikTok. If you were on Book Talk 6 months ago, you saw this video. And I think it was supposed to be a joke. Not really sure. Didn't make me laugh personally. But he was like, what, are you guys, like, flicking your bean to this shit? First of all, never say that shit again.
A moment of silence
needs to be ixnayed. Like, we need to retire
literally the brain cells that had to die in your brain to make that TikTok.
Seriously.
Oh my God. And it's just so clear that men don't understand what women look for and what women value. And it's like they can't comprehend that, like, oh, I said this too, which will bring up like the Reese thing, is people say all these things about how it's just like, oh, whatever, like this is just like I don't know, something for women to get off to, flick their bean to, even though that's gross.
And that's not, I have literally never met one woman who says that.
Like, that's crazy. They like can't fathom that something is not sexual, like sex oriented.
Not to be like gross on the internet, but how are you holding a book? And
yeah. What are the logistics behind that?
It doesn't make sense physically. There are not enough.
Well, those kind of men don't know where the bean is.
Yeah, they don't know where the bean is, so
they wouldn't know.
What is,
they think they're doing rave hands,
dry humping a pillow.
You like that?
You fucking like that?
But we've said that, like, for those of you who've read ACOTAR, you know, chapter 55, In a Court of Mist and Fury. What so many men don't understand and wouldn't even be able to comprehend, I truly believe with my soul, you can't have chapter 55 without chapter 54. Chapter 54 is the entire explanation of his emotional feelings for her, his apologies for where he went wrong, how much he understands her, how much he knows her, and the entire build up to the one spice scene that happens in like that section of 150 pages.
Yeah.
That's like the one chapter that like everybody references, and you can't even have that without the safety of your emotional partner. Like, God, it's gonna make my head explode thinking about it too much.
Real.
It just makes me so upset because men don't understand the build-up. Build-up is so important.
That's 90% of it.
Like,
majority of the time.
And then they just assume that it's like we're reading like violent, aggressive sex scenes.
Yeah.
Like that's not real. That's not what's happening.
No. That's never
9 times out of 10 even they're very romantic. Like if we wanted to get like maybe a little more on the aggressive side, maybe the Twisted series in one book, and even then it's kind of flip-flopped between who's in charge the whole time.
Yeah. And
like there is nothing wrong with having those power dynamics, but a lot of times it just feels like men are looking for like a gotcha.
Yeah. And there is no gotcha.
They're trying to find a way to make women feel like hypocrites, and they're not. Reading books, like romance books for your own enjoyment, and even that raising the bar of like, oh, I would like somebody to care about me this way, to treat me this way,
to know me so deeply.
And then but it's like, oh, but then because there's sex in it, there's shame.
Yeah. It's
like all of this. You can watch a rom-com. Women love romance and blah, blah, blah. But as soon as there's intimacy, like physical intimacy, now there's shame.
Yeah.
But men have
never experienced that. There's no shame around men and sex.
Yeah.
There is no shame or, you know, there's literally no embarrassment around men consuming media or just talking about sex.
Yeah.
And men talk about sex very openly, but the second a woman starts to, it's like, yeah, because she's a fucking whore.
Yeah. Or they try to say like, oh, well, she's clearly not a feminist. No. You misunderstand because you're not trying to understand.
Right.
Men aren't trying to, they don't want to think about the fact that, oh, what they're lacking, what's making women not really want to talk to them very much or even raise their standards is that they want somebody to like actually care about them. And a lot of these, almost all of these romance books are written by other women. A lot of them, the authors now, especially like the ones like Sarah J. Maas and Rebecca Yarros, are in loving long-term relationships. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them too in their dedications, they dedicate a lot of this stuff to a lot of their male main characters, like bits and pieces of their husbands are in this or whatever. Like I think it was a Sarah J. Maas dedication or something, or maybe Rebecca Yarros, that was like, there's a piece of you in every hero that I write. Mm-hmm. That I can't really actually quote where that's from, but I know that it was a dedication of some sort in a romantic-y book. And it's something where it's like, we're not reading about weak men. We're not reading about women ruling everything and being like, we are reading about very strong female characters, but like Feyre, amazing strong character. All of the characters in the Twisted series, badass women. Even the princess in Twisted Games, that's with Reese Larson, she's badass.
Yeah.
Like, she's so cool. She's not a warrior.
Right.
But like, these women have substance and they have character arcs.
And so do the men.
And so do the men.
That's like I think the most drastic difference between the media that we're consuming, books, women, that we're consuming, the books that we're consuming versus the media that men consume. There's so much shame around what we're consuming, but there is strong female leads and strong male leads. When it comes to the media that men are consuming, might be a quote unquote strong male lead, if that's what you guys consider strong. Personally, I don't. But like,
sorry, the Wolf of Wall Street is not.
That's not a strong male lead. No. Oftentimes it's a toxic masculine man. Or
just an extremely violent. Like the only character depth is violence. They have one thing and they snap, and now they're murdering people. Now they're
insane. Right. And then the women, if there are any, the Bechdel test is not being passed for fucking sure.
Yeah.
And the women that are shown as love interests or counterparts,
they're lesser.
They are never equal. They are never like,
and
they never have a personality outside of being in some kind of situation with that man.
Yeah.
Like, I can't think of one.
Or they're perceived as like, oh, they're the bitchy one. That's the bitchy boss. Or that's the whore that cheats with the husband.
Right.
Or something crazy. Or it's like, oh, that's the trad wife.
Yeah. Or that's his dim-witted girlfriend who doesn't know what's
big
going
boobies.
On. Right.
Who is always, without fail, every single one of these women overly sexualized.
Yeah. 100%.
And if it's, God forbid it be a woman, and this happens in Wolf of Wall Street, God forbid it be a woman that uses the system to her advantage, still, like the way that she's yelled at, screamed at, like, and that's based on a true story.
Yeah.
That everybody like idolizes Wolf of Wall Street like he's some incredible idol. The dude went to prison. He went to prison. He's a criminal.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. And cheated on his wife. And his new wife cheated on her too.
They love that. They love that shit. They eat that shit up. Like, that's what. But
God forbid I post something or mention something about like, these two high lords at the same time.
Yeah.
God forbid.
No, literally.
Now it's, oh, you like that? You want men to beat you up? Huh? You want aggressiveness? Is that what you like that?
Is that what you want? No, freak. I want you to get the fuck out of my DMs.
Stop DMing
I want you to get the fuck out of my comment section.
Yeah.
Go jerk off in a corner somewhere. Leave me alone.
Leave me alone, you freak. Oh. And I think too.
And we wrote down some specific male media we have a list.
Yeah.
That is just about violence. John Wick. And John Wick is the only one where I will say, valid crash out. Valid crash out.
But I think that's the thing is I'm not, like, there are some of these that I'm like, oh, that's a shithole movie. I'm not watching that.
Yeah, I wouldn't watch John Wick.
But also, like we said, they're in the media that we're consuming, we don't like despise what a good man is.
Right.
Like, we don't, like, I don't know how to make this more self-explanatory that we are reading about strong men and strong women.
Yeah.
But then God forbid they have sex and now I'm not a feminist anymore because I said, oh, he pulled her hair.
Right.
And now I want to get punched. I don't know.
Men don't want you to be a feminist. They just love to use it as a gotcha moment. Be like, oh, well, that's not feminist. You don't know what feminism is. First of all, me personally, I never claimed to be a feminist. I'm a misandrist, true and true. At the end of the day, baby, that's what I am.
The thing is like, but like, I love when men are strong and confident and caring and can also be like in the fantasy books we're reading can also go out and fight a war.
They're not reading about men who are strong and have emotional intelligence. They're reading about
a men who,
or
like,
not reading, but
or they're watching.
They can't read. They can't read.
They're illiterate.
So like that's that's an issue.
Yeah.
That I feel like, you know, leads into this. The literacy crisis in America. Half of these guys can't even read the books. Like they can't comprehend it.
Well, the thing is too is with these specific book boyfriends with Kai, Reese Larson, Reese Sand,
Christian Harper.
Who was the other one? We had
another
one. Asriel. There are so many reasons that these are amazing book boyfriends, and they have traits that men would also like.
Oh yeah. If men read,
they would want
books,
these men to be their book boyfriends too.
If they were marketed in a way that was targeted to men would love these. They would. Christian Harper would be idolized like no fucking other if Christian Harper was real and wrote a book on how to become a successful billionaire CEO. Or if Reese Larson was real
literally,
and wrote a training.
Those books exist.
Right. Like they're real things. Men, those fucking, what is it? Rich Dad, Poor Dad? What the fuck is that?
No, literally.
What the shit is that?
There are content creators who, like we were talking about this, like she mentioned like, oh, I know a Navy SEAL that turned content creator and now makes this type of fitness content or workout content or male whatever, wake up in the morning, here's my routine content.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I know him too. We were talking about two different men because there's multiple men that do this. And like if you have a boyfriend who is insecure about your book boyfriends, let's just test this theory out. Maybe all of the character traits of the compliments I could give to, say, Kai Azar: strong, successful, confident, a leader, and also like really, really, really fit and sexy hot. Now, if you were to go to your boyfriend and you
ask
were to
him what he wants to be,
you were to give him all of those compliments, he would feel so good about himself. These are not badly written men.
No, and they don't have bad character traits.
Yeah, like whenever we're like, it's unrealistic. No, you just feel insecure.
Yeah.
You've
never been described as handsome and sexy.
This, oh my God. Men are so obsessed with billionaires, but God forbid women read about them.
Bro, yeah, it's because they all think they can be a millionaire or billionaire, and I know they can't because they don't understand that the top 1% means just that. 1 fucking percent, you dim-witted morons. And 1% is 1% of the population, and they think they're special, and they think they're God, and they think that they're gonna be the exception to the rule, and they're the reason the fucking rule exists in the first place.
And mind you, and I know that this is not the way with so many other books that we haven't read. Ooh. I'm not saying that I have read all of the books on the planet, or like, I'm sure there'll be people that have read different books, will have different experiences in those books. But from the ones that we have read and the ones that are massively criticized, the sex in them is so vanilla. Like I can't even like if we're focusing on the people that we talked about in like maybe like the Twisted series, it's like so chill and regular. It's still hot and sexy, don't get me wrong. I read about it all day long. But there's not like, I'm not reading about squid tentacles. Let's just put it that way. I'm reading about a man who knows basic female anatomy.
Yeah.
Yet that's being compared to adult content that is so rooted in violence against women that men can go like this. You like that? You like that?
Rubbing your fucking labia majora.
Yeah.
Yeah, you fucking like
you
that?
You like that? They're like literally just doing this.
Struggling with your bra clasp.
Yeah. You like that?
Fucking you like that? Well, my tits aren't out yet, so I'm not. No. I don't like that. My tits are still contained in the bra that you've been struggling with for 5 minutes. Like, also another thing that like irritates me to its core is that if like you tried to get a man to read this, like, you know, an insecure man, they'd be like, no, because I'm not, that would make me gay. I'm not gay. I'm not going to read that book. Let me see your Pornhub history. You can watch that, but you can't read about.
And this is another thing that gets a lot of hate that people on the internet will say means it's poorly written. And women do joke about this because it can be funny. We can joke. We can laugh. We can hee hee ha ha.
Yeah.
And there can also be some rooted issues for the people who are like using those jokes as an arguing point.
Right.
For why this is bad.
Yeah.
And things like when it's written like, oh, the heat filled up to her apex point, or warmth pooled into my core, or I don't know, like
bowels turning watery,
like things like that. And it's like, oh, describing something where it's like he like grazed the peak of my breast, just because they don't want to write the word nipple.
Yeah.
Like, we can joke about it, right? It can be funny, hee hee ha ha. But men will be like, it's so poorly written. And they'll read that part and they'll be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And they're like, I personally think that it's, if they are reading even just a clip they see on the internet of that, I think it's
hard, or I'm having a period.
they're like, ew, 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 ew. They turn like back to like 14.
Are you sure you like women? Are you, and this is not me being homophobic. I would personally prefer to be around, like, there are gay men who care about women more than straight men do because of this like epidemic and like culture that we've created around talking about women and women's anatomy. Like, straight men are so afraid of women.
And a lot of things too is people be like, oh my God, he'll burn the world down for her. And it's like, okay, yes,
caring about your partner is not embarrassing.
Yeah.
Loving your partner,
that's not embarrassing. That's not weak.
no.
Like,
Knowing your partner, like that TikTok I showed you the other day of that guy being like, like,
you all have seen it. The candlelight proposal.
no.
Was that not what we're talking about?
No.
Oh.
That was beautiful though.
That was beautiful.
That was
and
beautiful.
that was him knowing her so well.
That was him knowing her so well. But there was a guy who, like, his wife put up female products on the TV.
Oh.
And she was like, what are these? And he answered
all them.
everything correctly. And men in the comments were like, yeah, well, that's unrealistic. Honey, I hate to tell you this, but your husband's gay. Denial is a river in Egypt, blah, blah, blah.
Are we still like, is that still a way of like bullying men?
Right, like knowing
You're gay,
your
haha.
partner. That's what we're using
what
as an
we're doing?
insult. Like that's what you think is a gotcha.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Also, like, that is the most like heterosexual thing that is I have personally ever seen, is a man knowing so much about his partner that he knows what all of these specific things are.
And another thing too, and this is something that I think for some reason so many men don't, I think there's a lot of men that just don't love the true like concept of enthusiastic consent.
Oh, they hate it.
And like the constant checking in. And I truly believe it's rooted in insecurity, because when you're being intimate with somebody, you're having sex with somebody, and God forbid you stop and say like, oh, hey, do this instead, or do it this way, or some type of note or help. What, you just don't want to talk? That make you insecure? That you maybe didn't know exactly what you were doing? God forbid this woman try to help you?
Yeah.
And that happens in these books. There's plenty of times where it's like, oh, the man asks, show me what you want.
Yeah.
Tell me what you want.
Right.
And then isn't
wanting to do it right.
Yes. It's like they can't.
Isn't weak or embarrassing.
I truly believe that like they're coming up with crazy, like I see content all the time of like some like weird man on the internet trying to get in with the book girls and being like, is this what you want me to bend you over my bike? Excuse me?
No, the men trying to infiltrate book talk with the weird like.
Also, oh my God, that one reel that you showed me where it's like men, like the dating pool sucks. So I'm on my bike hanging outside a Barnes and Noble parking lot. That's creepy.
I'm sorry, all biker content, get it away from
I'm
me.
against it.
I
Also,
don't want it. I don't want anything to do with it.
They thought that was like a hee hee ha ha post. You just said that you're waiting for women in a parking lot.
Like a freak.
Outside of a frequently visited place that women go to, and you're going to wait in the parking lot to pick up women? That's terrifying.
Yeah. Literally.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. Or like the content that's like, it'll be like taking a scene from a book and they'll be like trying to recreate it.
No.
Why?
We don't need you to recreate scenes in the book. It's not about all of the physical actions. I'm sure there are some people who love to do role play, and if you're into that, go for it, girl.
Do your thing.
But a lot of it, 90% of it, I'd probably say, is the actual, like, they want to feel that loved. They want to feel that known and that comfortable. And then you get to the spice scene. They want to feel the chapter 54 so that they can have the chapter 55 in an enjoyable way.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
men not like the chapter? That's not true. Men do like the chapter 54, but only the ones who are confident enough to be vulnerable and have emotional intelligence.
That's the issue, is that a lot of them like really lack the emotional depth and security.
And I'll say
that
this
they can
too,
be honest about their emotions.
That it's like, oh, if you were to ask a girl, oh, who's your favorite book boyfriend? If she's a book girl, she has a list.
Yeah.
She can tell you exactly why, the character traits, the actions they do, and that they're sexy hot, obviously.
Right.
But it's also their actions, and mostly their actions and the way that they treat the female main character. And also a lot of the times their favorite book boyfriend correlates with their favorite FMC.
Yeah.
Not personally for me, because Kai Azar is my number one, and I do have other FMCs that I like over Peyton.
Yeah.
But I still love Peyton.
Yeah.
And if you were to ask, if there was an equivalent, men would, like, they don't do this, but if you were to sit down with a guy and be like, oh, who is your equivalent to a book boyfriend? So like a character in a movie or something, they would probably, their first one would be like Megan Fox from Transformers.
Oh my God. Alexis Texas.
And they wouldn't be able to tell you any actual character traits besides, oh, well, she has big boobs and she drives a cool car.
She can fix a motor of a car. She knows what a V8 is. Everybody knows what a fucking V8 is.
I don't.
Okay.
But I don't know fuck about cars. I don't give a shit. But like, it's like these are characters.
You know what?
That have depth.
They like Megan Fox doing stereotypical boy things. They want to see, like, that's what they like. When you are a woman and you're like, if you like something that like predominantly is consumed by men, like even when it comes to like sports, they'll be like, they want to belittle you, but B, when you actually know it, they're like, oh, that's like hot. That's like
really
cool.
hot.
Like this happens all the time with hockey bros. We'll be like, oh, I like hockey. And they'll be like, yeah, well, can you name 5 players on the team that you so claim to like? And it's like, yeah, I can actually name the entire starting.
Yeah, they want to condescend, and then if you prove them wrong, then they're like, hey, so you like want to go out sometime?
No, literally. Like they want you to like the things that they like, but then they want to belittle you also. And be like, but I know more than you.
Because that's the thing, is
they have a complex.
They want, and this is another thing with our book boyfriends. Every single one of these book boyfriends, at some point, has been in an environment or strived for an environment where they are still successful and strong and powerful men,
Mm-hmm.
and their partners, their wives, their girlfriends are up there next to them.
Yeah.
Just
They're
because
exactly
Feyre
equal.
became a high lady doesn't mean that Rhys wasn't a high lord.
Right.
And he was very adamant on telling everybody
That she was high lady.
Equal.
He invented it.
He invented it because he said she's just as good as I am, not less. And I think there are a lot of men who truly think that like we're reading only things about women being like, oh, all of the men are just our servants.
They should be.
And you know what? If they wanted to be, they could. I could allow that. However, I love reading about like with Xaden.
Yeah.
Xaden is he's still at this current moment in the Empyrean series, he's still more powerful than Violet. He still is.
Yeah.
And there is a power dynamic there that Xaden and Violet are working through because it doesn't have to be, women aren't reading about things that are like, oh, it's immediately perfect and it's just like this right from the get-go.
Right.
Not always, especially in something like Fourth Wing, which is so vastly criticized.
Yeah.
They're still having real relationship dynamics. Xaden is still working through some of his own trust issues.
But they'd rather watch Game of Thrones where the Lannister twins are fucking each other. That's what they'd rather consume.
Or something like, and I truly think too, like action movies, and I'm saying this as somebody, I'm biased, I don't really love action movies.
Because they're dumb.
There's not really anything going on.
And there's no like character growth.
There's no arc. Y'all didn't take a story class.
What is the growth that happens in American Psycho? What is the growth that happens in John Wick?
What the hell is Fast and Furious?
What the fuck is Fast and Furious?
And mind you too,
I think like the guy dies because he
think
died
that happened
in real life. Yeah, so they had to write him off. But I think there was a character arc in that one. But that was what, 5 fucking movies after? There's like 8 of them.
And the thing
How
is,
the fuck are you making
also
that
too,
many
is
movies?
like, I know this hasn't come out yet, but like the F1 movie, fast cars. Y'all don't. Is there no do you not care about a character arc? And then there's also the men who like, we had a lot of this in one of our TikToks, like the Dungeons and Dragons type of men that do read high fantasy. And it's like, okay, yes, great. I love that you can read about strong male characters in a fantasy book. Why does that make, like, why
does it
can't
piss you off when there is a strong female character?
Yeah, why does it piss you off when there's a female lead in a high fantasy book?
Yeah.
That is the majority of Throne of Glass. It was directly criticized in this comment section that we posted a few months ago. A TikTok we posted a few months ago. Why is Throne of Glass why are you shitting on that when it's like it's not just romance. There's probably majority of that book series is not romance. It is much more high fantasy than something like ACOTAR.
Oh, 100%.
And that's still seen as less
Shit
than.
on page, yeah.
Like, that's crazy. Like, why are they so mad? Like, as much as I don't really give a fuck about action movies or
I don't get mad over them.
Yeah, I'm not pissed about it. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's a dude
for
murdering other
somebody.
people. Who's surprised?
Yeah.
Who's surprised? I don't think it's badass and I don't think it's cool.
Yeah.
But like,
it's content that they enjoy. Like, content that is for men. Okay, fine.
It's been that way.
It's everything has constantly been surrounded and made for men, and the second that women try to call back something and make something for us about us, they're like, oh, well, what about the men? You have everything. Can we have one thing?
No, literally. And like, I've had like male acquaintances even make jokes to me like, oh, is this what you're reading about? And it's just like some psycho ass reel of like a dude putting his fist through a wall.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
no.
They're like, they'll send it to me on Instagram. Hee hee ha ha. Is this what you're reading about? Is this what women like now? Excuse
Don't speak
me?
to me.
Excuse me?
Don't speak to me.
That's
weird.
I'll send a clip of fucking from the Wolf of Wall Street where the motherfucker's cheating on his first wife and his second wife and then committing felonies and being like, is this what men like now?
Yeah. Is this what you like? Is this what women like now? Well, you wouldn't know because you haven't boned a woman in your life.
I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know. I'm not a virgin or a loser.
Yeah.
But it seems to me like, whoop, we got a virgin in the chat.
I'm going to start replying.
We got a virgin in the chat.
We got a virgin in the chat. Because like if you, or they've just
not
never
that there's
been.
anything wrong with being a virgin.
No, there's not. But like if you're a dick ass
if you're
guy,
over the age of 25 and you're like sending weird reels to like
they think I'm gonna laugh at that.
If you're a grown man and you're making
and you're
weird
bullying women
content on the internet, just say that you don't have sex.
Yeah, you can't get a woman to talk to you. Ooh,
sorry that your life is.
And then
sad.
God forbid, I say like, oh, this billionaire Christian Harper, is that his name, Christian Harper?
Mm-hmm.
I like him. He's pretty cool. And he's really nice to his girlfriend. And he has a lot of money. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
Well, you're a gold digger. What kind of gold are we digging for? You have no gold
You
to
have
dig
no
for.
gold to dig. And they're just insecure that they have no gold to dig. And there's just so many double standards.
Women these days, I'm expected to pay for dinner and... Yeah, so in the 1950s, you were expected to pay for dinner. You like bought that woman a house before you had sex with her. And we're gold diggers for wanting a plate of pasta?
Oh my Lord.
As you pick me up in your fucking Camry?
Like
or your fucking
no, and the thing is
sports car that you can't afford?
Men get to watch action movies and have all of these things geared and created for them that they get to enjoy, and that's awesome. That's great. But as soon as, and I think that's really what we're getting at here, especially with the book boyfriend situation, because that has had some discourse of being like, oh, you shouldn't have book boyfriends, right? So it's one, fake characters. Two, you're mad about women having standards for emotional intimacy and emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Versus me being like, so what's the substance in that action movie? Oh, there's a woman in it. What is she doing? Oh, she just like fixes a car and then gets kidnapped. Okay.
Cool.
Or she takes her top off. Oh,
okay.
Cool. Like
awesome.
That doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah.
I'm not mad about it. Do what you gotta do. But there are men that are like, well, your book boyfriend, sorry, the bar was in hell, and now some women are deciding to raise it.
Genuinely.
And they're like so mad about it.
They're so mad about it.
And they haven't even read any of these books. If something...
You can't speak on, like...
Well, I haven't watched some of these action movies that I'm speaking on, but I have seen Wolf of Wall Street, and I know how many men die by that movie.
I have seen American Psycho, and I genuinely can't recall a single fucking thing that happens that's normal. Not one thing in that movie is fucking normal. Not one thing in that movie is realistic. Like...
But you could read these books. Men would read these scenes from these. If it wasn't marketed as a romance book and it was just like the point of view of this one guy and it was like man who loves to read fantasy. Or if it was
released under a pseudonym and it wasn't a female author, the conversations would be drastically
It'd be very different because men would read about these characters and they would think that they were so cool.
Yeah.
Or if they were just from the male point of view for the majority of the book.
But because their life is so deeply rooted in misogyny, they don't know how to have a normal conversation.
Yeah. And if anybody is upset that we're generalizing so much in this episode,
eat my ass.
I don't care. It happens so much that we can generalize it. And if you don't understand nuance, if you're around somebody if you're somebody who generalizes and you feel like, oh, wow, this happens so much, and somebody's mad, it's their fault.
Punch them in the face.
It's their fault for not understanding nuance. And
we were just talking about how men are so violent, and I was saying, do violent things.
I'm not even a violent person, and I think you should run them over with your car.
Yeah, run him over with your car. He's literally just a man.
Yeah.
He's literally just a man.
And at the end of the day, if there is a man disrespecting me, I have no respect to give back.
Rest in peace to that man.
Whatever. And I think if you want to have book boyfriends, you should, because these are cool men. Yeah. These men are fucking cool, and the women are fucking cool.
It's so embarrassing.
God forbid a straight woman want to have sex with a cool man.
No, it's so embarrassing for men to have a blueprint right in fucking front of them, and they still can't pull women. You have a step-by-step guide, my guy.
But they can't read it, because if you're seen reading ACOTAR in public,
you're gay.
What the hell?
everybody needs to be a little bit more gay.
I agree.
The world would be a better place if we were all just a little more comfortable in ourselves.
Yeah, I think that's really the root of it, is that there is so much like
if
deep
we all
insecurity.
Hated minority groups, if men could hate a little bit less on minority groups, women, the LGBTQs, all of the any
other race but a white man.
Yeah, if men could just hate a little bit less.
Yeah,
The
they're
world
so
would
full of
genuinely be
hate.
so
These
much
books are
better.
so full of love and connection and friendship. I'm sorry that that's bad writing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe next episode will be a little more lighthearted, but sometimes you just have to get angry about and be so baffled about the way that content and things for women are treated. It's infuriating. You're allowed to be angry.
And we're allowed to be angry.
You're allowed to be angry. We're allowed to be angry.
In the wise words of Greta Thunberg, the world needs more angry women.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean that we're stomping around being angry about everything all the time. We're having a great time when we're together.
Yeah.
And I'm having a great time reading my books.
Yeah.
And if anyone makes you feel like you can't have a great time reading your books, kick them in the nads.
Kick them in the nads.
Kick them in the nads.
And that's that.
That's that. Thanks for coming to
That was
Book
the
Club
episode.
this week.
If you want to see our ranking of book boyfriends, like not
aggressively like
angry,
this, and we're talking about it in the fun and girly hee hee ha ha time.
let us know. We will rank them very seriously.
Yes. And we'll wait till we're ovulating and we'll go crazy.
Yeah.
It'll be awesome.
And it'll be so fun.
It'll be so fun.
And that's the episode for today.
Yeah,
Love you guys.
Love you guys. Thanks for coming.
See you in 2 weeks.
Follow us on everything. It's always linked below. Yeah. Come back to Book Club in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks.